Anyway, as I said, Kevin wrote in from China. He said, first off, happy anniversary and sorry to add salt to the wound of mountaintop removal. However, we working people's fight is a universal fight, and that is so true. They literally die by the thousands in Chinese coal mines every year, workers. And Chinese mothers and Chinese babies breathe filthy coal smoke day in and day out, and they die early and often. What is not okay to do to me here and my family here in Appalachia is not okay to do to somebody in Wyoming or Montana or southern Illinois or China or Tibet or Mongolia or Bangladesh or India. If there's ever going to be, and I've said this before, if there's ever going to be a thing that follows capitalism once capitalism has absolutely collapsed, and collapse it will. Yeah, now this is not me, I don't have my Che Guevara t-shirt on now. But it will collapse. All human institutions do. It will not evolve simply because its structure does not permit evolution. It is, the entire thing is premised on devolution because it is consumption-based. But if we are ever to have whatever comes next, if it is to succeed and we are to continue living on this planet, it will have to have in it an element of regard for the people who are displaced and destroyed when things like coal are dredged out of the earth. It will have to have a recognition, a component that recognizes that coal is no longer an acceptable energy use. I'm going to get Kevin's email read yet, or I'm going to bust in the process. He says, the we working people's fight is a universal fight. This is where much of the coal ends up, China. Kevin continues, the treatment of the workers at Foxconn Technologies in China, in which the conditions were so horrible many of the workers committed suicide as a form of protest. The Foxconn issue is a travesty against the rights of workers, and my heart goes out to the dead workers and their families. However, there is a flip side to this issue. My girlfriend, who is a South African citizen, and I, a U.S. citizen, have been living in China for almost 8 months and have been dealing with the Chinese on a daily basis. And I know, knowing Kevin, that this comes from a place of humanity and love and respect. But he's writing about his realities, and he says, the truth of the matter is, the kinder and more humanely you treat many of the Chinese people, the more they resent you. If you treat them with kindness and respect, they will view you as being weak and unprofessional, especially if you are a foreigner, and even more so if you are a non-white foreigner. You cannot simply ask for something. You have to order or demand it, or you will not get it. Both my girlfriend and I are foreign English instructors, and in our classes we often have to yell at our students in an unprofessional manner in order to get any level of cooperation from them. In my case, adult students, and if you don't, they will often complain to our supervisors about our competence as teachers. Also, to top that off, I've even yelled at my supervisor a few times in order to maintain a level of respect. My girlfriend and I hired a lady to clean our apartment. We started out paying her twice the going rate, which is about 30 RMB an hour. We were told to pay her 15 an hour. That's about $3. She often did a bad job. Now I'm paying her the going rate, and she's greatly improved her performance. Keep in mind, if I was Chinese, I would only be paying her 7 RMB an hour. We asked a very westernized Chinese friend of ours, why do so many of the Chinese act in this manner? And she explained to us, this is what many Chinese expect from authority. We being teachers, we are very high authority figures in China. Many Chinese just seem to respect more the foreigners that mistreat them. This self-loathing, I suspect, comes from centuries of a certain kind of Confucian thinking and decades of Maoism. It's precisely what it is, Kevin. This is why upon our arrival to South Africa, we will never set foot in a Walmart, the world's largest distributor of Chinese-made goods. Also, we will try as much as possible not to buy Chinese goods regardless of the financial consequences. We do not want that kind of blood and suffering on our hands. Even though things for my girlfriend and myself are going quite well professionally here, as people of conscience, we cannot stay in China and continue to live and act this way towards our fellow human beings. In truth, I resent having to act this way in order to survive here in China. Therefore, after our contracts end in the spring of 2012, we will not be signing on for a second year and will be teaching English in some other part of the globe. Your friend always, Kevin and Andrea in Shanghai. P.S. We do owe you so much in the form of contributions. You owe nothing, Kevin. No one owes for any of this. No one owes. We all work together to pull this together, to make this go so that we can all have it. To owe presupposes a debt, and there is no debt. But he does add, China does not make it easy to send money outside of the country. A fascinating picture. I remember Kevin's disillusionment with the United States that led him first to Korea and then to China. And it must be horrifying to run up against that kind of mindset. But bear in mind, there was an old saying in the Soviet Union back in its days among the working class: as long as they pretend to pay us, we'll pretend to work. I suspect there's more than a little bit of that in what Kevin is running up against. More than a little. Thank you for your note, Kevin.